Hey guys, so I'm going to do the SMaSH Beer Memorial SMaSH brew, if you will, in honor of Strat Brewing, who passed away a few weeks back now. He loved Amarillo hops like you wouldn't believe, and there's one video he did that was a SMaSH Beer with Amarillo. So I had to actually grab this book because he was using it as a reference for the Amarillo SMaSH Beer. Now, the Amarillo SMaSH Beer in this book calls for a, let me see if I can find it here. It calls for Carapils malt as a specialty grain and then just pale malt. Doesn't really specify what kind of pale malt. So I'm using Maris Otter Pale, 12 pounds of Maris Otter Pale, and I'm also using 7 ounces of Amarillo hops. I'm going to boil 2 ounces of Amarillo hops for 60 minutes, then at 15 minutes I'm going to boil an ounce, at 5 minutes I'm going to boil another ounce, and then at flame out I'm going to drop in another 3 ounces. This is going to be a real citrusy, floral, a strong aroma beer. IBUs are low. I think it's like a 40 IBUs beer because you can tell it's only 2 ounces for the bittering. So anyways, let's get over to the mash, shall we? Okay guys, so we're doing the SMaSH Beer, 12 pounds of Maris Otter. We're going to mash in at 150 degrees. Right now we're sitting at 117 degrees. I keep the lid on the US Canada version of the Grainfather because it helps bring that temperature up quicker, and I've got this set to boil and I've got the bottom set to normal. When we get closer to our 150 degree mark, we will start mashing in our grains. So I'll see you in a minute once we get the grains going here and we're at our 150 mark. Alright guys, as you can see, I am at 1 degree over my mash temp. That's not a bad thing because when I put the grains in, it's going to drop anyways. But I'm going to go ahead and you see, when this little light is off, that means that it is not heating the element at the moment. So that's good. So I'm going to go ahead and pop off the cover here. Go ahead and drop in the grain basket. And I'm using the large piping, the standard piping work for this. Next thing I'm going to do here, is I'm going to add in my pH adjuster. I know some people say to use it, some people say they don't. I use it. We're about 4.8 gallons of sparge water, so we need to use just under a tablespoon of this stuff. So about like that. Just going to kind of scatter it in. Let that work its magic. And we'll give it a little stir, kind of mix it in. You can see our temp dropped. Oops. See our temp dropped? It's because I got the lid open. So it should kick on the element here in a second. We'll stir the stuff in until it's cleared up some. Alright, let's go ahead and mash in our grains. Almost forgot my grain blocker. Do not forget to put that in because you'll get grains down inside your piping. Let's mash in, shall we? This is just a straight 12 pounds Maris Otter base malts grain bill. Nothing special to it. Go ahead and put the rest in here. I've said in other videos, one thing about the Grainfather that's awesome is you can really get it mixed in real nice, and you don't really have to worry about, you know, dough balls as much. Because I haven't had to worry about dough balls or anything. I just kind of give it a good stir with the paddle. Just mix it in. It's going to be a thick slurry of grains, but that's how it goes. And I just take my paddle and kind of scoop it up flip it over. Piece of my bagging now. So yeah, just kind of dough it in real good, scraping it from the bottom. Basically, this is just like one big oatmeal concoction, really, for all you guys new to all grain brewing. Basically, just mixing water at a certain temp with your grains, and depending on what temp you have your mash water at, sometimes known as strike water, or whatever you have your mash water at, it's going to either add more of a malty character to your beer, or not so malty. It just depends on if you're mashing in at around 150 degrees versus 156 degrees, or on a higher range of the 150s. So I just want to keep stirring this in good and get all the grains wet. As you get all the grains more wet, you'll notice that it gets easier to stir. And I'm just kind of scooping from the bottom, bringing it up to the top. Okay, that's pretty well doughed in. You'll notice that my Grainfather is set at it's at 151. Now I'm still playing with getting the temps just right on this thing. I notice that sometimes if you set it right at the temp that you want, it'll be off by like 1 degree. But what I did is I went in and I reset the hysteresis on this thing, and basically I told it, okay, within 1 degree fluctuation, kick the element on. So it does. So it'll never go higher than 151, but it'll never really go lower than 150 either. So I found kind of a happy medium on there. I'm hoping that the new Grainfather controller, because it's even more precise, more digital, whatever, I'm hoping the new one actually, see it just dropped down to 150. I'm hoping the new one actually is a little more precise on the programming or whatever. So that's pretty well doughed in. See, it just looks like a nice mushy mess. I'll go ahead and put the top of the basket on here. Try not to get any grains anywhere else. So, alright. So let's put the top on. It should just slide right down in there pretty easy. Just like so. Let me bring you in a little closer here. So now I'm going to put the lid back on. And take my grain blocker out. Let's put this on. I'm going to put the recirculating arm on as well. I got the valve wide open here right now. There's a little ball and spring in this, so you push down and then turn, it'll push that ball and spring down in there. Just make sure it's good and snug. Turn the pump on. And we should have wort flowing. And if you don't get a good flow, it means that it probably didn't sit on there right. So I'm going to kill, or never mind. So you have a good flow like this. And you can actually control that flow if you don't want it. And one more thing. I'm getting way ahead of myself here, guys. Put your overflow piece down like so. So that it's flush with the... Making all kinds of mistakes here. Sorry, Strat. So anyways, I had to put my overflow piece on, or else grain's just going to keep getting recirculated, and well, we want to keep the grain bits out, so this screen does that. You'll see the wort starting to flow over the overflow here. So what you can do is adjust your flow with the little adjuster on the side. You want more of this flowing through your wort, or through your grain bed, than in the overflow. So I like to just kind of have it lightly flowing, We're gonna let this go for an hour. So, ta-da! As this mashes, the overflow, the beer or wort will stop going into the overflow as much. It'll start to kind of go more through the grain bed as the grain bed settles a little bit and it works its way through the channels of the grain. So, to show you one more time, that's about the flow I like to have. I like to kind of sit on there, encourage it to flow down through. Still got a decent amount of wort flowing through the recirc arm. So this is where you go and you have a beer and you just chill and play with your kids or whatever's going on in your life. So we'll get back to this when we're sparging. So I had to butt in real quick and you want to see a snow shower? It's a snow shower in Texas! What? No, look, oh, man, this is that Sierra Nevada clone. I'm almost out of it, but man, hang on a second. So I've had this keg for a couple of months, man. Look at this snow shower, what? But anyways, it's a good beer, man. But I had to show you guys this. Ooh, sunlight bad for beer. Sunlight bad for, it's at beer over here. So, anyways, that is commercial clear, guys. Oh man. It's just as good or if not better than some of the commercial brews I've had. And it's almost all gone. So, it's almost all gone. So, we're still waiting for the mash to get complete. And I'm heating up some spudge water. Spudge water. Come on, spudge. Oh man, I gotta do the whole thumbprint thing. Oh, wrong thumb. Wrong thumb. 113 degree on sparge water. Still using my grill detection device thingy. Got my phone over here. Got beer. Don't need this anymore. Done with that for today. Werflock tablets. Yep, gonna use this to clear the beer up. Man, this kettle doesn't really sit flat as much anymore, so it kind of rocks on this flat top stove. But yeah, let's look and see how we're doing here. If I can do this without burning myself. Got a little yellow character going to it. Should orange up a bit here in a little while, hopefully. But yeah, decided to take you off the tripod and yak at you for a second and show off my beer because I'm so excited. I was pouring this beer, man, I just couldn't believe how clear this thing has gotten in such a short period of time. Good stuff, man. So this is the Sierra Nevada out of that Clone Brews book I was telling you about, and I posted the recipe. If you go and look at my Clone Brew or Sierra Nevada Clone Grainfather video, I have the recipe down below. So go check that out. So, I'll get back to you when we sparge. Cheers. Your dog's treats while you're brewing beer. One of my dogs, his name is Chino, and he's enjoying those treats. And over here we got our female Chihuahua, Maui. She's enjoying her treats too. Honestly, it just keeps them quiet during the brew session. Not really. They bark. People make noise, they bark. So, anyways, just thought I'd show you some doggy porn for a second. Why not? See you here in a second. Almost time to sparge, I promise. Alright guys, so the mash is done. Now what I've done is I've gone in and I've ramped the Grainfather up to 168 degrees. We're going to let this mash out. Well, it's not 168 right now, but it will be. And once it's at 168, we're going to mash out for 10 minutes. And what that does is it stops all the enzyme activity from happening. So you're kind of like telling it, hey, stop, we're done right now. So once it gets up to 168, we'll sparge. The moment you've been waiting for. Sparge time. So what I gotta do is I gotta kill the pump. And after this, give it a second for the fluids to flow back down the overflow pipe. Or return pipe, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna unscrew this. Pop it off, and if you make a mess, oh well. Just clean it up later. Move that out of the way. Alright, now we're gonna pop off our lid, which is gonna be pretty damn hot, so just be careful. Also, make sure you turn this rocker to boil and flip your bottom to normal. That way, while you're sparging, this thing's already heating up to boil. It'll speed it up a little bit. So I got this locked in pretty good here. Let's go ahead and pop it up slowly. It's a big grain bill, this one. I say it's big for the Grainfather. It's 13 gallon, or 12 pounds, I should say. So I'm gonna pick it up. And I'm gonna let this sucker drain. And you can hear all the wort just flowing out of that bed. So while that's going on, we're gonna go ahead and sparge the top of this grain bed. So, yeah. All right, so I've got 168 degrees of sparge water here, ready to go. I'm gonna take my pot. I've got 2.5 gallons of sparge water here. I'm just gonna kind of start sparging this until I start seeing water pile up here. Just like that. And I want to let this water just kind of run through and you know, just clean the grain bed of all those sugars. Alright guys, we have a pre-boil volume of 6 gallons. That means I'm going to have to do a 90-minute boil for this, because the Grainfather, if you saw my boil off test, I'm boiling off about half a gallon an hour. So I'm going to do about a half an hour boil before I do my first hop addition. But yeah, I mean, it's boiling along, as you can see, and I've got my hop spider in here, my new hop spider. I'm going to test it out today. I'm very excited about that alone. But yeah, we got a nice little, what do you call it, simmer boil going on. That's about what the boil's like in the Grainfather, the US, but it's enough. But I'm gonna let this boil for half an hour before, before we do our first hop addition, because I don't want the hops to sit in there too long because it really affects the bitterness. So we'll get back once the pre-boil volume is down to about 5.5 or so. All right guys, we're gonna go ahead and drop our 2 ounces of Amarillo hops. Just throw them right in the hop spider. Got 2 full ounces here. And we're gonna let this ride for about 45 minutes. And then we will add our, oops, got a little bit on the hop spider at all. We're gonna let this go for about 45 minutes, and then we will drop another ounce in. And then 5 minutes prior, we'll drop another ounce. And then at at flame out, we will drop 3 more ounces. So, get back to you on the next hop drop. Drop it like it's hops. Drop it like it's hops. I know that's pretty corny, but whatever. Alright guys, time to do my 15-minute hop drop. So here we go. Man, these smell really good too, like citrusy. In they go. Alright, so we'll be back in 10 minutes to do the 5-minute hop drop. Alright guys, adding the 1 ounce 5-minute hop drop. Gonna have to stir them into my hop spider some. Alright, all that's left is the flame out hops, which is 3 ounces of hops. And then we will kill, or actually we'll kill the burner, throw the 3 ounces of hops in, and then get this thing cooled down. Alright guys, gonna do the final hop drop to kill my boiler. I'll go ahead and put in 3 ounces of hops in the hop spider. They're just kind of sitting on top right now. I'm gonna have to stir them in. A couple pellets there. gonna take my little stir stick here and get those hops in there. I'm gonna let them sit in here for 10 minutes and then we'll start chilling this beer down. So they're mixing there pretty good. Alright guys, into the fermenter she goes. This came out to be a 1066 final original gravity. And right now I got it running through the counterflow chiller and into the fermenter. I'm actually connecting it to my laundry room this time. I've changed faucets in the bathroom, so now I have to connect it to my cold line in my laundry room. So I got a hose running all the way over there, over to my counterflow chiller. So yeah, pretty decent color to it. You can see here, it's got a nice orange. So that's what I expected. I expected it to be about an orange. I dialed this down some to give it slower time, more contact with the cold water. So as soon as this is done, we'll pitch the yeast. So that's all for this brew day, and we'll go to the fermenter tomorrow once it's actually fermenting. Alright, so we are on the next day since last night's brew session, and you'll see we have airlock activity. Yay! Bubbling away. I've got 3 2-liter bottles in here. There's one in the back there. 1, 2, 3. Keeping this cold. This one keep it about 65 degrees or so while it ferments. Bucket's nice and cold already. But yeah, this coolering bag looks like a champ still. So anyways, we will go this beer in about 3 weeks after I keg it and carbonate it. So fermenting along. Get all CO2 escaping. So we'll see how this SMaSH beer turns out. Cheers.